Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie and welcome to a weekend reading vlog. The last two vlogs I've started, I've canceled right in the middle. I put one of them up on my Patreon unfinished. I didn't even finish a single book, but I started Assistant to the Villain. Maybe we'll get back to this in this video, but my point is that I'm clearly in a rebellious mood where I don't want to be told what to read or how to read, even by myself. So yet again, we're going back to mood reading. I do love to follow a theme, at least for the sake of a video. I find it way more fun to continue it or like to even edit. It makes it even more fun. But every now and then, aka 80% of the time, I just want to read whatever the fuck I want and I don't want any pressure from myself to finish. So that's what's happening here. Might not finish a single book, but I know I will. Mostly because I started Lights Out 2 days ago. That is the longest Allie scream I've ever done. I'm a little lightheaded now, actually. And oh my god, she got lightheaded last night from him. This is so fucking fun. This is like doing a little... I probably shouldn't say that. I'm not in Florida anymore. I am so beyond scared that they're gonna lose me in this second half because the first half, the energy levels... I can't get enough. He's such a simp, but he's such a fucking creep, but it's fiction, so it's okay. And it's for adults, so like we're all consensual, okay? So the only thing I know for fucking sure is that I'm gonna be continuing this tonight. Hopefully it doesn't start to suck. Something else that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get to this weekend, I just got the Raven Boys graphic novel in the mail. I really just wanna like flip and look at one page. Oh, it smells like a science textbook. I'll do it in the first quarter so that you can look too. Ready? Here we go. You get to look first, you lucky bitch. Oh, this is right in the beginning. Oh my god. Oh my god, okay. This is happening. Other contenders for the weekend, I do have some new Aardvark books, The Hounding and Hot Girls with Balls, LOL. I'm LOLing at the word balls, it's just a funny word, okay? Also, side note, Aardvark's shipping is so random for Hawaii. So like this was the July pick, this was the August pick. This took 26 days to get to me, this took 5. Keeps me on my toes, I'll tell you. I also just got this book in the mail, House of the Beast. First of all, look at that holographic top. There are sprayed edges, and as much as yes, I agree sprayed edges are getting a little tiring, mostly because they're in your bookshelf that you don't even see the fucking edges. But I do love the detail in here, like make it interesting at least. But I think I see that like the naked hardback might have something on it, so let's just look at it. First of all, okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. Are those eyeballs? Those are eyeballs, right? Oh, it looks like there's some illustrations in the book, which is kind of giving YA or like even children's books. But I'm going to be the first to admit, I love a little illustration in a book. And finally, options for this weekend. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Oh, and I just got this in the mail too. I also have all the books on my TBR. I haven't started a single one of these. At least 3 of them are 5-star predictions. Allie! Oh wait, I'm getting overwhelmed right now. So I think I might as well just start Lights Out. It's perfect reading weather. Friday night reading weather. It's overcast. There's a huge cloud above me that I'm wondering if it's an alien spaceship. It's like that kind of intensity. So I think I'm gonna open my windows, have a monster. Is that a sign to read House of the Beast? Okay, one beast at a time. Let's finish Lights Out, or at least read some more until it gets boring. For context, it is 6:30 just about on Friday. It's been about 3.5 hours since I clocked out of work. I've already had a relaxing evening. I showered. I don't know why I can't shut up. I watched some YouTube. I listened to some music. I put my makeup on. I very much chillaxed. I even played my phone game for like a fucking hour. It was phenomenal time. So now I think I'm ready to read, like having exhausted all my other hobbies. Let's go. Okay, I just LOL'd because this TikTok mask dude, he does like thirst traps. This is the whole synopsis of the book. He sort of stalks her and breaks into her house because she's been commenting like hundreds of comments on his social media saying like, boy, what I could do with you, stuff like that. Like she wants him, at least on TikTok. And she happens to be his roommate's ex-lover, so they already have met in real life. Anyway, she's into it, they're having fun. Something's happening and he said, let me be clear, am I the only masked man you asked to break into your house? And then she said, masked men? No, there was that there was that shirtless jump roper and a firefighter or two. And it's so funny because I was just thinking last night that I was gonna tell you guys. Oh, my window's open. I hope my neighbors can't hear me. Hold on. Well, they definitely heard me shutting the window. This thing's so loud. I was gonna say that I find like thirst traps like those masked dudes to be incredibly cringy because I just know how hot they think they are. The only thing that's ever worked for me in that realm was the jump rope guy, so I was not expecting to see it here. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just show you very quickly. Every time. Works for me every time. If I had the skill, I would be insufferable. But see, like he clearly knows that he's hot, but also he does have a skill, so it makes it cooler for me. But also he's like sweaty. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Since we're already here, let me tell you a little bit more about what's going on. Our main character's name is Allie, but it's spelled A-L-Y, so it's different, okay? This is why I didn't listen to the audiobook though. I think I tried to a few months ago and they said the name Allie and I was like, no, can't do it. But reading A-L-Y is like a completely different name. Anyway, she's a trauma nurse and my God, the detail they're going into about her job, I am appreciating. I hate it when there's a specific job like that and then they only just kind of mention it off page. But we have gone to like a shift or two of hers. And my God, the stuff that she has to deal with, but also the author's doing such a great job of talking about her hours and like the amount of time that she's on her feet and the extent of her shift where she has to like sleep an hour when she can because her shift is like 20 hours long. That's fucking crazy. It certainly makes me annoyed at myself for complaining about having to work for 8 hours. Like, Allie, shut up. And I don't have to commute. Come on. The dynamic between these two is very flirty and almost like quirky, but it's still intensely hot. And I think the author's doing a great job flipping in those moments because there's still some humor and giggling, but also like it is intense when it needs to be. I think she actually said that at one point. So they're getting a little serious in the bedroom, if you know what I mean. He says again for whatever they're doing. I'm not even gonna look up because I'll start giggling. I complied, staring at him with wonder. Gone was his playfulness, gone was his sly teasing. The man who stood above me now was everything he promised in his videos. Demanding, despotic, I don't even know what that means, and absolutely ruthless. Gag me. I'm sorry, my memory card is filled up. I gotta go. Did I just say gag me? Am I telling the future of what's gonna happen in the next chapter? Okay, I just emptied a memory card and I didn't double check that there was footage I was saving, so hopefully that doesn't come to bite me in the ass. But also bite in the ass. Maybe that'll happen next chapter. I did just read the very famous knife scene, like the capital T-H-E knife scene, which I've heard a lot of people talking about since the book came out and even before. I think it was something that like the author was promoting on TikTok. You know how sometimes they'll give you a quote on the TikTok to get you intrigued and then it turns out to be like a very big part of the book, or at least like a really fun part. I don't think it's a spoiler, but I'm not gonna tell you. It is, however, crazy what she put in the dedication. I'm just gonna read the dedication because like that's the first thing you read. For everyone brave enough to ride the handle. This bitch. That's diabolical. That's crazy. I laughed out loud when I read that because I already knew what was coming, but like, oh, coming. I'm ovulating, okay? How many of you are offended by like, okay, I'm just gonna not ask. Another favorite part of this book, first of all, I think I already mentioned how much of a simp he is, but like after breaking into her home, the next morning he broke back in to drop off her favorite pancakes, like from a restaurant. That's the simp level I need. When there's food involved from a simp, I'm a goner every single time. And it's funny because he even cooked her breakfast another time, but he like did it poorly. He doesn't realize he did, but she's like, there were like eggshells in the eggs and the bacon was like somewhat raw in the middle, but it was very cute that he did it. Like, come on. All ladies need is a little bit of effort and to ride the handle, you know? But another simpy, but also like this is just fun but cute, is that he loves her cat and he talks to the cat like it's a little part of her family. Those parts, he calls him, oh my god. I think the cat's name is Fred. And like on day 2 of knowing this woman, he's talking to Fred and he's like, would you give mommy and daddy some alone time? That would work on me. And then my favorite part, have I already said that, of this book is that they sort of have hidden identities, or at least he does. He is this masked man and he's only presented himself to her with his mask on and like a voice modulator, which is just silly in my opinion, but whatever. So she's trying to figure out who he is and she has a suspicion, and it is so fun, her thinking she knows who he is and he knowing that she knows but won't tell. I love like hidden identities, and I like how our girl is not stupid. I like how it's not this big secret, it's just like this fun thing going on in the background. And my god, the lengths he's going to try and bamboozle her, the LOL. I'm not gonna tell you what that means, but that had me actually LOLing. Like, wow, perfect. At this point right now, it's 5 stars. So we'll see. This is like an action-packed scene, the most action we've probably seen this whole book, so I need to keep reading. What am I doing? This did not go to plan. I usually hate being addressed in a book, but he just said, reader. He's talking to us, and I laughed. Okay, I finished the book and I have to be quiet because it's very late. It is 1:01, but goddamn, this has got to be a perfect romance, at least for me. First of all, it was hot. Capital H. But I also really bought their emotional connection. I liked so much detail. They never held back. Like I said, about her job, about his job. This just felt so thorough. And then there was so much of a thriller aspect to this, which is, I'm a mafia romance bitch. I don't know why it's specifically in romance, but I love a action-packed part of it, especially in the 3rd act. I think that's my favorite part of mafia romance in general. And this one really leaned into it, which is phenomenal, because sometimes I feel like mafia romance doesn't lean far enough into it, but this did a phenomenal job. And then the epilogue, the most interesting romance epilogue I've read maybe ever. Anyway, it's gonna be 5 stars for me, dog. And I'm so happy just because this has been so hyped up and it did not let me down. I think the second one just came out, and I think it's gonna be one of those romance series where we follow a different couple for every book. So I must know who book 2 is about. I think maybe Junior. Okay, it's called Caught Up. It just came out in June. Junior. I hope this isn't one of those book series where like the first ones are just a really fun passion project for the author, and then they kind of get tied into a series for the sake of success and then it ends up sucking. I'm gonna cross my fingers that this is another fun one. All right, it's time to go to sleep. I'll see you tomorrow.
Baby, I tend to complicate things, but this just seems so easy. We're on to something good. Well, trust me, it's hard.
Okay, I finished the Raven Boys graphic novel edition, and let me talk about it as I get ready. If you don't know what the Raven Boys is, how do I even define this book? So it's based in this town where there are ley lines, and I was always really confused about ley lines, especially because I think this was the first book that ever mentioned ley lines, and then moving forward I read a lot more paranormal stuff that had mention of it, and I've always just been confused about it. I don't get it. Anyway, there's like a private school for these rich boys. People call them the Raven Boys. We follow 4 of them and also a girl named Blue, who is just like a local, she's a public school girl. Her family is a family of psychics. That's my absolute favorite part of this book. The tarot cards, just Blue's family, her house, and I loved seeing that in here. I think that was the coolest part. And they put the house in there a lot because like they knew it was beautiful. Like, look at that shit. Anyway, to make a long story short, all of these teenagers end up getting together for a quest, and they are trying to find some sleeping king, but also just to witness something magical. I, for one, I'm not interested in the king the entire story. So she meets these boys and they are on this quest to find this king, this dead king. And I'm not even gonna get into that because that part doesn't even like, it's not even important to me. I just care about these characters and all of their personal issues and their connection to each other. I just can't get enough. I think the graphic novel was fun as a lover of this series, just to get to see it. I imagined a lot of things very similar, but I also imagined things differently. As for characters, I think they did such a great job with Blue, but I always imagined her fashion a little bit more like emo. Kind of like, oh, what is that designer? Rodarte? I always pictured her wearing like netting and things like that. I don't know, that was my vision. Gansey, I always pictured blonde, but I think that's because I was picturing like Logan Huntsberger a little bit, but I think he looks so perfect in here. But honestly, I think they all just look so perfect and they all fit their characters so well. The only thing I'll say, if I took this from like a separate thing from the Ravens Boys and judged it on its own, I feel like it wasn't as thrilling as if you had read it. There was a lot of thrilling things in here, but it just didn't get my heart pumping and I wasn't like desperate to turn the page. And it's definitely not because I read it before, because I've reread this series like 7 times at least. And I get excited and like turning the page really quickly every single time. Maybe this format, just for me, it wasn't like building anticipation. I don't know how to explain that. Also, the thing I was most interested in getting the graphic novel for, besides like seeing these characters come to life, was what Cabe's water would look like, which is like this sort of magical place. I always remember the descriptions confusing the fuck out of me when I first read it, and I kind of had a hard time envisioning certain things. And then also it is a fantasy world in some way. They're like definitely in our world, but this fantasy stuff is happening. And some of it is so out there, and I don't feel like it's totally defined and it's not really explained in such explicit terms that it gets a little confusing. But I was addicted to this. I even wrote some fan fiction about it. Like, that's how much I like this. We don't get too much of it in here, so I'll be interested to see what the rest of this, especially the next one, oh my god. But like in here, it just looked like a forest, and that's not quite how I envisioned it or even how I remember it being described. Who knows? So I'm definitely not going to rate this because I don't really know how to rate graphic novels, especially one that like is a story that I absolutely love and adore. But I had a very pleasant time, and it has inspired me to go on a quest of my own this morning. It is almost not morning, it's like 10:45, but I had someone comment on my channel to try out the purple monster. I think it's grape, I'm assuming. So I'm gonna go out and try to get it at the grocery store. I mentioned it to my patrons in our chat, and someone said it's kind of hard to find. So if it's not at the first store, I'm gonna keep going to all the grocery stores in my town. I have like 3, plus a Walmart, plus a Longstrug, which is our CVS. So this is now an official quest. It might be a very easy one. My grocery store right down the road might just have it. So that's the adventure we're getting up to today. Are you excited?
We've been working all day. Let's kick back and take a little break.
That quest was much quicker than I thought it would be, but we're not gonna laugh in the face of success. So let's test this out. We have the ultraviolet Monster Energy. I'm trying to find a sugar-free alternative to my all-time favorite Monster. The most acceptable that I've tried so far is the strawberry. And I feel kind of rude that I have overlooked the grape. I'm assuming this is grape. It's actually kind of annoying that they won't tell you what flavor something is. This is the description. Are you ready? Welcome to the 70s. Okay. A hazel purple funk all dressed up in a kaleidoscope of bell-bottoms, bandanas, and tie-dye. A time when psychedelic glam and heavy metal rock blasted from mega speakers at fairgrounds, stadiums, and garages. Can you dig it? Then take a good long pull of Monster Ultraviolet, crisp and refreshing with a sweet and tart pixie dust. See, that scares me. That's like my least favorite part of an energy drink, if it tastes like pixie dust. But I did get a Sprite so I can mix it together even if this isn't my favorite. So let's go. Hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Pinkies up, of course. Oh, I still have like a toothpaste flavor in my mouth. Hold on. Oh, it reminds me of something. It's not like a grape blow pop or grape Jolly Rancher, which is one of my favorite flavors. It's more like a grape popsicle. I'm gonna mix it with the Sprite, but it's not bad. Okay, now it's time to pick my next book. Also, I'm sweating like a little pig. Wait, I don't think pigs sweat. Just kidding. I really should be reading something from my TBR, or else I'm gonna have to punish myself the next time I play, which is funny because most of the punishments that people were suggesting in this video was like monster related. LOL. But I sincerely am scared of them now. Next month, I need to like start reading those immediately when I'm still very like impulsively excited about them. Now it's like they're glaring at me from across the room. The least intimidating of them is Gothicana, just because I think I'm gonna rate this 3 stars. And also if I DNF this, I'm not gonna feel weird about it. So maybe I should give this like a chapter or 2 to try. Also, I'm trying to be quiet, so I'm sorry if I just croaked. I hate it when my voice does that in editing. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let's give this another test. Not bad.
Lately, my songs have been lazy Susan at the table from my.
Guys, I'm panicking. I'm so scared I've dipped into a reading slump because I'm looking at every single book and I'm like, eh. This is actually a feeling that's been creeping up the last week and a half, so goddamn, what do I do? See, this is the risk of mood reading for me. If I have a set TBR, which I do, what am I doing? I have no idea what to read right now. Part of my issue is that I've just read a romance for this vlog and I've read, fuck, I just spilled my soda all over my new rug. Alright y'all, after the soda spill, I called it. Although you'll be pleased to hear that the carpet or the rug that I spilled on was completely waterproof. So I literally had like a mountain of soda on it, just wiped it up, dry as a dog. Although dogs can get wet, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, I spent hours of the rest of the evening just watching people watch my favorite TV shows. It's my favorite thing to do. Besides watch BookTube on YouTube is reaction channels. Ugh, love it. It's just so comforting. Today though is Sunday and I very much want to read. I say that, but do I? I need to tell my brain and remind it that this is my literal favorite thing to do, just because I'm feeling a little stubborn. No. I think because I've been saving reading for like the weekends, because I've been like editing or filming sit down videos during the week, I've gotten it in my head, I think, that it's only worth it to read 4 or 5 star reads. So as soon as something is not feeling great, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm wasting my time here, when really, that's not true. I don't read to get 5 or 4 stars. In fact, some of the most fun I ever have in books are in 3.5 star books. Just wild, unhinged romances, for example. Although I just read a wild, unhinged romance that was 5 stars, so it is possible. Ugh. But it's also possible that a book I'm just feeling meh about in the beginning ends up being pretty good. I wonder if I did that though, if I read the first half of every single book that I own, like how many would I unhaul because I thought it was gonna be 3 stars? That's actually scary. And I wonder how long that would fucking take. I kinda wanna do it today. I'm crazy. Today's goal is just to read 150 pages. In fact, on my Patreon, at the highest tier, we have a chat where every single day we say our goals for how many pages we want to read, or sometimes people put like how many hours they want to read if they don't want to measure by pages. And then you can update and say if you like completed your goal. And my goal that I set for today was 150 pages. So it's got to get done because it's just so satisfying to say that you did the thing that you said you were going to do, you know? And maybe that's the thing to get me out of the pressure I'm putting on myself for a 5 star. My goal isn't to read a fantastic book today. It's just to read 150 pages. Okay. So now the question is, should I continue in the books that I've started the past week, or should I try something completely different in the hopes that I want to binge the entire thing today? Maybe I will read chapter by chapter these 3 books, and they're all kind of in a purple family. I haven't talked about this book in the past couple days, but I tried reading this past week, and then the vlog failed and I had a lot of editing to do, so I didn't continue, but I got like a third of the way through. I think out of these, I'm still the most intrigued by House of the Beast. Oh, I never explained why I put these books down. Okay, let's chat. Like, that's not what we've been doing, Allie. Oh, I'm turning on myself. Also, I don't want to put any makeup on or pick up anything off the floor. I'm in full teenage mode today. Okay, this is sort of in a fairy tale historical setting. It's almost giving Shrek, but obviously a little less fun because Shrek is a fucking icon. And I don't mean the plot of Shrek, I mean like the vibes of Shrek. I put this down because it's really centering around a mystery, but all I care about is these 2 characters falling in love. which is definitely happening in the background, but like that's all I care about. So I was getting a little impatient. This book, how many pages did I get in? 24? In the pages that I read, our main character got accepted to a university at 21 years old, just got a randomly handwritten letter saying, come to our university after her mother has been, I don't know if she was killed or she died. Anyway, she gets to this university and I stopped reading as she found out that the girl who was in her dorm jumped off of the building to like, you know, end it. And our main character found out that the dead girl was dating this teacher who I know she ends up having a romance with. So I was a little like, what? But while she's learning this critical and, may I say, traumatic information, her narration is talking about her underwear. Listen to these couple of sentences. Corvina, our main character, is like, did they investigate? She pulls out a drawer for her underwear. Not that she liked wearing it. Girl. She goes on to say, having grown up just like with her mother and never leaving the house, she never really wore a bra. Panties she wore every day, except when she didn't want to. She's talking to her new roommate slash friend about how traumatized she was that she saw her dorm mate splatting on the ground like a watermelon, and she's talking about she doesn't like to wear panties every day. So I think this is going to be funny. Like I kind of want to keep reading it because this is actually comedy. And then House of the Beast. Ooh, I talked about this in my new release video. Basically, there's like districts in this realm and there are gods that each of the houses worship. Our main character's mother is very ill, so she goes to, I still don't understand this part. She can't afford to get her medicine, so she makes a deal with her birth father, who she finds out like the week before was her father, in a note she found in her mom's like stuff. And her father is like, I will get her the medicine if you agree to come live in our house. Like house, capital H, like their district, because he's like the leader of this district, or at least one of them. And if the god chooses you in your house, you have to like give up a body part. So her dad whacks her arm off so that she can get her mom medicine. And I know from the synopsis that like her mom ends up dying. We haven't gotten that part in the book, and honestly, like, damn, that's actually crazy. So now she's stuck in this house with her father, who is an asshole, and his entire family, who hates her because she's like his bastard child. And I think she is going to get revenge on all of them because she's going to team up with this demon beast, and I think they're going to fall in love. I'm pretty sure this is romantasy. So I am kind of interested in this, but I stopped because there was a lot of info dumping, and I just, you know, you saw my patience levels yesterday. I just didn't want to have to flip back and forth between the map. I felt like I should be taking notes, but also it seemed like the info that we were getting dumped on wasn't going to be pivotal to the story. It just seemed like, obviously I don't know this for fact, but it seemed like the type of thing that was intricately described to make it seem very complicated, but like actually none of it's going to be important. Hot take, one that's not grounded in any truth, but that's the vibe I was getting yesterday. But again, bad mood yesterday. Also, I have a headache, so I need to take some Advil. And if for the fact that I hadn't given up on my last two vlogs, this vlog would be in the toilet right now because I'm clearly not in the headspace to enjoy myself. That could be turned around with a good story though. I think I stopped in these books in the middle of a chapter. I didn't even like finish the chapter out. So that's what I'll do. I'll go chapter by chapter for each of these until it gets so annoying that I kick it out of the group. You can't sit with us anymore. And as I have witnessed for several videos, bouncing back and forth between chapters actually gets me in a good mood because it feels like I'm being impulsive when I'm actually not. I have to trick myself sometimes.
Clear nights when all the haze gets washed away. Smooth flights.
Okay, this vlog is already a fucking mess, so it won't surprise you that I'm no longer doing chapter by chapter because House of the Beast has sucked me in. Also, just look at this. I didn't realize these were teeth. But yeah, every single time I had to move on from a chapter, I didn't realize I had gotten into the next chapter, and finally I was like, fuck it, I want to keep going with this. I'm gonna go with my gut. And then I got to part 1, the trials, and I flipped back. I didn't realize this entire thing that I've been reading is the prelude. Crazy. And we jump 8 years. I didn't realize it mentioned at some point, like in the last couple chapters, that our main character is only 11 years old. I was not, like, I had not pictured her as a child. I thought maybe she was like 17. This bitch was 11 when her dad chopped her arm off. Oh, that's wild. Bless you. Also, if you hear some mumbling in the background, Grant is playing a new video game with his friends, and whenever he plays this particular type of game, he starts cursing and calling everyone a little bitch, so I'm so sorry. Something that's really cool in here is that our main character had an imaginary friend, except for I think it's a little bit more than that, and that's all I'll say, but I'm very excited. Like I said, our main character is going to enact revenge, and I think she's playing the long game here. She's going to try to overthrow her father, their entire house, whatever. I just really hope hope we lean into that sort of vengeful spirit and we don't back off from being somewhat in the gray area, you know? I don't want this to turn into a morality story, is what I'm saying. I want her to embrace her dark side and to really fucking go for it. It'll be interesting to see though, like if the beast, as it says in the synopsis, they're gonna team up to do this vengeful act. Is this beast actually good? Well, obviously they're not. They want to murder a bunch of people and it's like the beast of doom or something. But like, is he on her side or is he just another manipulative man? You know, you never know. I both want him to be on her side because that would be nice for someone to be on her fucking side. But also, if this turns into a series, which I think it might be, question mark, it would make sense that he was also using her. I don't know. I obviously am not going to tell you because I probably won't finish this by the end of the day, aka the end of the vlog, but also spoiler free, baby. So I am enjoying myself, and God, I just love the little illustrations in between and the art style plus this sort of vengeful childlike story. It's giving anime. I don't really watch anime. I've watched Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, if that even counts. Also, I was obsessed with Sailor Moon, and it was mostly just this montage that I was obsessed with. This just played on in my head like every day at school. When I was bored, I would just like play that on a loop. I'm gonna go read more. Our girlie's 19 now. I hope she's hardened into a angry little girl. Some female rage. I would like it. Also, my spirits have raised because I've decided to get sushi tonight. So that is something I'm very much looking forward to. Okay, I got to chapter 14, aka page 175, and I'm gonna set it down. It just feels like a 3.5, 3.25, depending on how the rest of this book goes, because I think there's like a competition happening, so that could make it more interesting. But right now, it's not frustrating. It's just a very steady, kind of regular old tale. It really feels like a fairy tale almost. But again, I really hope they don't lean away from evil. That's a weird thing to say, but I want vengeance. I really do. But I do see that Spotify has the audiobook, and I always forget that Spotify has audiobooks. I've squandered the past like 4 months of usage. So if work is pretty chill the next couple of days, I am going to listen to it, and I will let you know if I finish, just because I know it's going to take a few days to edit this video. So we've lost all concept of this vlog. It's not even a weekend reading vlog anymore, whatever. I did think it would be fun for the rest of the evening though, to go in a different direction, because I just got a notification from Libby that my audiobook for Another by Paul Tremblay is now available. I was so excited to read this. This is technically like middle grade, but the story sounds terrifying. It sounds a little bit like Coraline. Let me just read it to you, okay? When Casey Wilson's parents tell him that his friend is coming for a sleepover, he has no idea who that might be. Suddenly, Morel appears, M-O-R-E-L. He's not like any friend Casey has ever met. His skin is like clay and he doesn't speak. But Casey's parents are charmed by the strange kid, and it's nice to have someone to talk to besides his sister, Allie, A-L-L-Y, not me, who is always at college. As his normally loving parents grow distant from Casey, they gush and fawn over Morel? I guess we'll find out how they pronounce his name. Casey knows something's wrong, but with no end in sight to the sleepover, he's exhausted. How... Ooh. And in the dark, out of the corner of his eyes, Morel doesn't look like a kid at all. And in the cover, I guess we could just pop it up here, it looks like there's like branches coming out of him, and then his hands, they're like vines. So I'm very curious. And the audiobook is only 5 hours long. I'll definitely listen to it at least 1.75, depending on how fast the narrator is. So I think we could get this finished tonight, and I'm hoping for the best. I've never given Paul lower than a 4-star, so let's see. Also, how funny is it that today I read 2 pages of this book that I don't even love, and my mood was so much better. I think yesterday was just like a weird fluke, because today I've just been having so much fun vlogging and just reading and just being alive. Like, why does my brain turn on me randomly? And for just short periods, whatever. At least it's gone for now. I think I'll go for a walk while I listen to this, so that'll be fun. Okay, I just finished another and I really liked it. It had a lot of similar things that Paul does, which is interesting because every single book I've read of his feels like a different author wrote it, but there are some similarities. He always has like an object that's really fucking weird, and it's something that is in your everyday life. And I love it because whenever I see that item out and about, I remember his stories. So cool. And yes, this really did feel reminiscent of Coraline, obviously in a different way, but I really like how this one ended. And I like how, I guess I can't really say without spoiling, but the Clayboy Morel, I like how he was handled. There are also some like topical things in here that I think middle grade kids or even high school kids, even me, it was like nice to read about in retrospect. Is that the word I'm looking for? They talk about the pandemic, and there is an author's note where Paul, because he was a teacher, I don't know if he still is, it sounded like he was talking about the past tense, but he said it was like the hardest time ever of being a teacher was during the pandemic, how he wanted to include that in the story. And I just am a sucker for an author's note. It gets me emotional every time. The aspect that made me think about, like in retrospect, was that our main character struggled with tics. I forget what they called it, but it reminded me I had a lot of tics in elementary school. I still have some like urges for them now, but for the most part, I'm very good at not doing them. But I remember I had the blinking one where I had to like make things even. So I would have to like blink on opposite eyes till it felt like they were like blinked enough evenly. It was a very strange thing. Or I was obsessed with the number 8, so I had like different blinks I had to do to make it even, and that's like why I love the number 8, because it's like the most even number to me. But the one in this book, the kid had to cough a bunch. He also had like a mouth twitch, but the coughing one really struck a memory for me. I used to do this thing where I had to croak. That's the only way I can describe it. I had to go and I had to do it. Like it was the most compulsory feeling thing, and I was so embarrassed by it because I could tell that if people were very close to me, like my classmate, I knew they would be able to hear it, and I couldn't just do it once. I had to do it 8 fucking times, and then I had to do it like, it felt like I was constantly doing it, and yet I could not stop. It felt like I legitimately had to do it. I did eventually stop, and I had to bully myself, but I remember the torture, literally felt like torture of making myself stop, and I often failed, but when I finally did, it was nice. I remember there were a couple times, and the book actually mentioned how in times of stress, those kind of tics will come up again. And yeah, it was very interesting to hear about. I feel like I've never really talked to anyone, especially as a kid. I was so embarrassed by it that I was always trying to hide it. So yeah, it was really interesting and kind of nice to hear about another kid dealing with that. So I think I'm gonna give it a 4.25. I really think the story was solid. It had some great messages in there, but it didn't feel like super fucking obvious. But also it was creepy. There was one scene in particular where I was reminded of something. I couldn't like put my tongue on it. Is that the expression? It sounds weird. But it was like an adult horror, either a film or a few books that I was like, oh my god, this is creepy as fuck. And I feel like my little emotions were struck at. So wow, solid book. Mr. Tremblay, I just can never not get good things from you. Thank you. All right, it is 9:30. I need to shower, start getting ready for bed for Monday morning work. So this vlog is sort of coming to a close, but I will put in my footage here of when I finish House of the Beast. If I finish it before I upload this video, Editing Alley, put that footage in here. It's 3 days later, happy hump day, and I have not finished this, and I think I might be soft DNFing it. I got to page 236. It just felt a little boring, but not bad. All right, I'm recapping for myself at this point because the past couple days have felt so weird, but I gave 5 stars to Lights Out. This feels like 2 weeks ago. That's crazy. I said I wasn't gonna rate this, but I guess for the purposes of like science, I'm gonna give this a 4 star. I'm very curious what I rated this, but my guess right now is gonna be 3.5 and a 4.25. Wow, 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 wow. It's funny how frustrated I was this entire weekend, but well, yesterday mostly, but it ended up being pretty successful. Finishing a vlog always makes me happy because it's like, wow, you didn't give up for once. Good job, Allie. I think my next vlog will also be a weekend reading vlog, but I need to get some of my TBR read for my TBR game, and I have a few that are 5-star predictions. I think I said that in the beginning of this video, so you can expect to see that soon. I think I have pudding on my face. I'll see you later. Goodbye.